And if you don't mind, I'll demonstrate. First off, you start your knees and your hips at the top of the swing, lower part of your body. Arms and hands follow, bringing you into position to hit.
Yes, indeed. A very big hello and welcome back to the Course Language Podcast, all thanks to Callaway, Sam Hargraves, Ryan Lynch. Each and every week we spend just a bit of time talking about all the things happening in the wonderful world of golf, whether they be at the highest level or whatever level. Your golf, their golf, everybody's golf. It's what this is all about. Lynchy, hello, mate.
Hello, Sammy. Great to be here, mate. We played a bit of golf this week, actually. It was a fun day, huh?
I think this is my favourite part of doing this podcast is anytime you and I get to play together. It was a heap of fun. And can we just say to our good mates over at the At.it podcast, Q, Johnny and the team, they had their very first charity golf day, all raising money for the Brain Cancer Centre. It's a cause very close to their heart. Unfortunately, Q's wife, Jess, is battling that ailment at the moment. It was an incredibly emotional, inspirational day in a lot of ways, but from the golf point of view, it was just a heap of fun. It was so well put together, especially considering it was their first crack at it, Lynchy. So we were really chuffed to be invited. We can't wait for the next one, and we're just so proud of them for what they were able to do. And so moved and inspired by Q and his family, and to see them there. And Jess saw coming down from Bendigo, and it was a great day.
Yeah, it was. We had a great time as well. I must say, Curl Lewis, if you haven't gone and played that golf course before, down the Bellarine Peninsula, there's a lot of great golf down there.
Yeah.
Curl Lewis is a fantastic golf course. Plates and a number of people have done a bit of changes to a few holes. We actually started on the 14th and the 14th, 15th and 18th. They have flipped the nines if it's been a while since you've been there, but some great course restorations. I thought the course was magnificent. They've got world-class stay and play packages down there. The accommodation looks second to none. It was just a great day had by all down there. And as I said off the top, Sammy, always nice to have a hit with you, mate. I love it.
I've got to say, shout out to the two lads that we played with too, because they were ripping blokes. A couple of brothers who we had the pleasure of playing with. So that was fantastic. That always helps the day go even better when you get to play with two really, really good blokes. So we're so grateful for them, and they put up with us having to film a bit of stuff. And you were giving impromptu lessons on the way around, which I thought was very good of you. But it did get me thinking. And by the way, the highlight of the day has got to be Miles Fitzmagic, who'd had a big night the night before and backed it up the next day.
And
got called up at the last minute to do an auction. And, well, he told us for the state he was in early, and he didn't disappoint. He lit it up. Literally, it was phenomenal. Well done, Fitzmagic.
Sam from the Brain Cancer Institute as well was incredibly impressive in the way that he spoke and to give a little bit of clarity in terms of what this disease is taking away from so many families and where the money that was being raised is going. I believe they got to $12,000, which was more than what they were hoping for. I think 15,000 gets a PhD student through an entire year of study. And look, this is obviously a long ways ahead, but let's hope we can eradicate this horrible disease. So if you can get to the At.it web page and donate there, I'm sure it's still open, but an amazing cause, and Sam did a great job speaking about it as well.
Yeah, and to all those who donated as well, like Golf Box were there, and like even Lucas Herbert donating one of his bags and got all the Ripper boys to sign it. That was highly sought after at the auction. So it did get me thinking though, Lynchy, I don't know if people put enough effort into this, and of course you're there for a bit of fun because it's Ambrose that you play, and they're great days. There's no pressure on you on an Ambrose day, but it did get me thinking. We were 7 under, which was respectable. I think the winning score was about 12 under, and handicaps come into play. We didn't put any thought into this, but the perfect Ambrose strategy. Did you have any thoughts on this? Because I Googled it and I wanted to see what AI would tell us is the perfect strategy for a 4-person Ambrose.
Well, I know that typically, if you were going to talk about it and have a chat and seriously go out there to try to compete and win in an Ambrose event, typically we would set it up so as that the highest handicapper would putt first, and so on and so forth. And you'd kind of go in order of handicap. I'm curious to hear what AI said, though.
Well, track the quota early. So you obviously got to get the drives away. So its advice is to, especially on the wider fairways, even if you're giving up some distance, get the higher handicappers' drives out of the way early so that the pressure doesn't build and mount on those particular players.
I have been in a couple of instances where the highest handicapper on the team has had to hit the last 2 drives of the day, and it is not a comfortable feeling for anybody.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I've been in that situation. In fact, I'm going to save it as a confessional for next week, playing a charity day, and I had to get my last away.
Give it to us now. Did they leave you up there on your own?
But here's the thing. I was playing at Commonwealth, and it was a charity golf day, and my first 3, I think maybe even 4 drives were smoked down the middle. I could not have driven any better over the first 4 holes. And I even won the long drive on one of the holes. That's how well I was hitting it, Lynchy. You had to pay money. I hit the longest drive of the day. So well was I hitting it that every time I hit a good one, someone else in the group said, "Oh, listen, I'm not playing particularly. Why don't we just use mine? And you look like you're playing well."
You'll get
After
yours.
the 4th or 5th drive, I could not find a fairway. If I had have walked down and been able to place it, I still would have ended up in a terrible spot. So I think we got to having to use 2 out of my last 3 in the last 2 holes. The last of them, when you come up, I think we played, is it the one at the back when you go up towards the club? It wasn't 18 because I think we started there, but it's a longer hole that goes around to the left, back up towards
around
the
the water. 16.
Yeah, I think so.
Not a comfortable
Came very,
tee-shot.
very close to the water. And the one before that ended up in not a great spot in the rough, but we managed to get up and down. But here I am thinking that I'm having a day. My playing partners are saying, "You'll be fine, you'll be fine." And then as it got longer, they're like, "Come on, mate, come on, mate." I said, "Come on, mate. I could not have driven any better
on you.
in the first 4 or 5." And then it left me. It all left me. And when I won the longest drive, you should have seen my group. They just could not stop laughing because we all knew the pressure that built over the course of the day. So get them away early is a lesson. I think I was about a 20 handicapper too at the time. So get the quota away early. Now, it does say hit in reverse order of skill. So have the least consistent or the highest handicapper hit first to put a safe ball in play. And that means that the subsequent players can swing progressively harder and more aggressively, knowing a safety net exists. Stagger the risk. If the first few players leave a mediocre or risky shot, use the remaining shots to let someone go for a high reward hero shot. Use the first putt as a scout. So what you were saying about have your highest go first, it's saying have someone who might maybe get a bit better than that to give you like the canary down the mine shaft to get the read right. And that gives the remaining 3 players a clear read on the exact speed, break, and line. Now, how does all that grab you? Because I actually don't agree.
I think that's right. I would say that ideally you kind of, anyone can putt, right? I guess it depends on the distance as well, but you want to get your best players having as many looks at the line as possible. At a couple of very different speeds probably, and the most consistent putter I would still say probably feels the most comfortable, or it doesn't necessarily need to go in handicap order, but if you feel like putting's the best part of your game and you feel like you're a really competent putter and you feel like you're happy to have the pressure on you, then whoever feels the most comfortable.
So I like that for the putting. So I think almost like a relay. So you go, who's your second, like with a relay, your second fastest goes first. Get yourself off to a good lead. So I would put your second best player first on the putting, have your best player last, and then the 2 in between. But as the round goes, so we had you, right? So you're a plus fiver. So we're we're thinking this is going to be a good day. Obviously that prohibits us a little bit with, we get pulled back a little bit handicap wise. Hurts a handicap a little overall. I would suggest that if you play at Ambrose and have a U, then I would have you swinging first every time. Because more often than not, when you look at the numbers and we talk about the statistics here, you're going to make 70% of fairways. You're going to hit, 65, 75% of greens?
66-ish. Yep.
So you go first, right? More often than not, you've given us, you've cleared the path. You're like a front rower. You've opened up the holes for the rest of us to run through. That's what I would do. I would have you going first. More often than not, you're going to hit a good shot. We get to swing freely.
That's fair. Totally
with no pressure in the world.
What if I hit a bad one? What if the 30% of time, how you feeling? No, I don't disagree with you, Sammy, to be honest. I think you can also strategize in terms of depending on what hole as well. So if there's a drivable par 4 and only one player in the group can reach it, let them go last. So as that you've got something or if you've got a par 5 and we've got one in the fairway that the longer player can open up the shoulders a little bit and give it a bash.
So you're saying don't just pick one strategy for the whole round. Pick a strategy per hole.
Yeah.
Even though it's not sheep stations, you are there for a bit of fun. But if you really want to, try to
if you want to
get the most
maximize
out of
it, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, strategize per hole. I think you can stand on each tee.
So just repeat that. Longer hitter, you go last if you can make it, or on a par 5 if you can make it in 2, and then everybody else plays for position.
Yeah, exactly right. So where we were on our second hole, for example, we should have had at least second shot into a par 5, that is, where I could nearly reach and one other guy could nearly reach, but we had to go over the trees. We needed 2 balls in the fairway, or at least 1 ball in the fairway, to give us the go-ahead to say, righto, let's take this on, we can go for the green now. Whereas if we go for the green and all of a sudden we mess it up, then the pressure to find the fairway with the next 2 layups is significantly higher.
There you go. That's how to approach an Ambrose Day, Lynchy. I thought that was well worth covering because they are so much fun, but they can be even more fun when you get your name called out at the end and get up there and get some great prizes, which the Teed Up boys absolutely had. Hey, worth previewing or promoting the fact that this is the second episode we've put out there this week. Hopefully people have been able to jump onto the Course Language podcast page, wherever you get your podcasts, and have a listen to the lengthy chat that we had with one of Australia's greats, a 2-time Australian Open winner, 4-time winner on the PGA Tour, Aaron Baddeley. That was a ripping chat, Lynchy, and I'm really glad that you were able to tee that up for us, pun intended. What was the major takeaway for you from the chat that we had? He had some great stories too, I've got to say. His Course Language Confessional was brilliant. We played it last week. The Tiger story, which you've told before, but he gave his version of, that is an all-timer. What stood out to you about what he spoke about?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that I recounted the Tiger Woods story well. I was very happy that I hadn't put any mayo on that. That you've got to go back and listen to this episode. It was fantastic. We got a couple more coming in the works as well. But the thing that stood out to me, I thought, was when he was talking about that year, that transitional year, which I've been through, every professional's been through. All golfers have sort of been through some degree of this as well. But when you go from amateur to professional, I thought it was quite poignant when he said it felt like for the whole year we were building towards the Australian Open. That was when I wanted to peak as an amateur. So none of the results necessarily mattered. He just had to tick the boxes. And that transition from playing, okay, this is when I want to peak, might be club championships, might be pennant season, might be a particular event that you want to play well at during the year. If you can set your plan, set your practice schedule so as that you peak at that time, that's ultimately what we're after. I thought talking about, and only because I've had experience in this as well, one of the hardest transitions I've ever been through was going from amateur to pro, to where you didn't have that long-term view of your game. You didn't have that long-term, okay, well, I'm putting building blocks in place to get to a certain level. All of a sudden, when I turned pro, and Aaron alluded to this as well, I wanted to get better yesterday. And I think a lot of people, when they go to the driving range, can fall into this trap as well, where you're searching on every single ball and trying to get better for the next shot, rather than using that driving range session as a building block. Think of it like a gym routine or going for a run when you're training for a marathon. Think of your best golf being towards the end of the year, and think about how you can set your practice schedule up to get better each month. Okay, so pick an aspect of your game that needs some work. It might be a short game for the month of July. So I'm going to really focus in on my short game practice. I'm going to do some drills. I'm going to go to my coach and talk to him about how I can improve in my short game aspects. What should I be working on? Okay, is there any technical flaws that are holding me back? That's all I care about for the month. Okay, next month, might have a higher strategy on putting. Okay, I'm going to dedicate this month to putting. I'm still going to not neglect any other aspects of my game, but I think that we can all fall into the trap of trying to get better for this Saturday, right? Try and be better for this Saturday. Try and be better for this Saturday, rather than thinking about, okay, and I've heard Adam Scott talk about this as well, peaking for majors. The previous results are nice, but it's all to peak for those 4 events in the year. So how do you best do that? And I think that if you set yourself up in terms of your practice, you would get better with that long-term view. I thought that was just interesting with that chat.
Yeah, it absolutely was. So my question with that is, because again, it's the Alistair Clarkson. He can't control winning, but he said that he can control attitude and preparation. So what's your attitude you're taking into each and every time that you practice? How are you preparing for that and the way that you play? So would that be, if you're talking about, I'm going to dedicate this month to chipping, instead of measuring your Saturday score, because then that's all about results there with the playing. Are you then trying to say, righto, if I'm going to set up my training that I'm going to hit this many wedges, are you trying to count how many you get within X amount, like X distance to a potential target, or with your putting? If you're saying I'm going to work on my 3-footers or whatever it is, how many am I getting? What's my percentage of makes as the month has progressed? Instead of measuring yourself to your Saturday score, measure yourself to your training targets. Is that what you're recommending?
Exactly right, spot on. And I think the scores will come. Just pick whatever targets you want to accomplish in your training. And at the start of the month, it might be, okay, I just got to make 9 out of 10 3-footers, right? If we're talking about putting. By the end of the month, I need to be aiming for 10 out of 10 3-footers. Okay. And it might be 5 out of 10 6-footers at the start of the month. And at the end of the month, I want it to be 7 out of 10 6-footers. And I guarantee your scores will get better throughout.
The other one I was going to ask you about is the idea of match simulation, which is big in a whole lot of other sports. How do we emulate what happens in competition in our training?
Yeah.
There are some driving ranges you can go to where you can play on the tracker. You can play different courses. Have you spent much time with those, and do you think that they're actually valuable for people to do in terms of a way to do more match-based practice?
Definitely. So you'll have your practice sessions that are outcome focused. You'll have your practice sessions that are process focused. So if you're talking about going to the driving range, to practice match simulation, you need to put yourself under some sort of level of pressure. So whether that's, okay, I'm going to hit 5 drives down the fairway and I've got to get 3 through this certain target on the driving range that I'm trying to get through. If you miss 1 or 2 of them, you'll start to feel the same pressure as you feel out on the golf course for every single shot. And you can simulate that pressure. It's not going to be exactly the same, but you can simulate that type of pressure on the putting green, on the chipping green, on the driving range, with your pitching. And usually it's when you're not thinking about your technique. This is just outcome focus. I'm trying to get X amount out of X amount on here. Or you'll go on the tracking and simulator stuff and you'll say, okay, I've got an 8 iron. I'm going to hit 7 iron shots in a row. That might be from 9 iron to 6 iron, and I've got to get 5 on the green on this simulator. I don't care about my stroke. I don't care about my swing. That's the outcome object. And if you get 5 out of 10, for example, then you haven't passed it. You'll have to do it again. Okay. And the more you put yourself under that pressure and the more you accomplish that, the more you walk away from the driving range going, geez, okay, that was a good session.
No, I love it, Lynchy. All in the tips for another week. And using greens on the driving range that are there too. I'm amazed at how many times instead of just standing there and hitting, and I'm hitting it well, as soon as I start aiming, I'm like, oh shit. Like it's a different thing, because you're right. That's that pressure. Totally. That's brilliant. All in the tips for another week. And check out the conversation we had with Aaron Baddeley, sometimes the forgotten man of Australian golf, but we just loved having a chat to him. We're so grateful that he was able to spend some time with us, and using a lot of Callaway now too, it must be said. We almost got him as part of the family. Let's get around the grounds.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Get in, you're kidding me. All hail Lucas Herbert. We have witnessed something truly remarkable from the Australian here this week. And after his historic round at Birkdale last week, Herbie has gone hypersonic at the JCB.
Lynchy, another incredible week for Lucas Herbert right off the top. His second LIV win. He wins LIV UK. He put him in the rear view and just left him for dead. You got Bryson DeChambeau and Tyrrell Hatton trying to chase him down. No one could lay a finger on him. First player to shoot 30 under, most birdies and eagles combined in a LIV tournament. He broke a whole bunch of records, a 6-shot win in the end, and just for good measure, Ripper get the win. Big week for our Aussies.
Yeah, it really was. Nice to get the victory for Ripper GC. I mean, Trav Smythe's been jumping around out there as well. He's now had a win as a crusher.
Oh, lucky charm.
Exactly right. And a Ripper GC. So maybe he is our Order of Merit winner on the Australasian Tour for last year. Important to note as well, I think Cam Smith kind of looked like he showed a little bit of sign to being back as well. He had 9 putts in 9 holes and finished 4th this week as well. But yeah, I mean, can't say enough good things about Lucas Herbert to to open up with an 11 under opening round and to close it out when he was leading already to go out and shoot 10 under in the final round was just incredible stuff. Just continuing his form on from the Open Championship. So well done to Lucas. How many more of these LIV events we're going to get? That remains to be seen, but hopefully at least one more.
Let me ask you this. I know that Kieran Nolan has said it a few times. Our man Q reckons that he's the hottest player in Australian golf right now, Lucas Herbert. He's 46 in the world. His best career ranking is January 2022. He was 40th. He'd not long just won for the first time on the PGA Tour in Bermuda. He's back to 46th in the world off the back of his Open Championship result, tie for 6, and this LIV win. Only Min Woo is ranked above him in Australian rankings right now. Is Q on the money there?
Look, I certainly would say that in current form he probably is. I think it's a little disrespectful to Min Woo Lee potentially for the year that he's had and the year that he's put together, albeit he hasn't got a trophy this year. He is still ranked a little higher than him. But that being said as well, LIV doesn't carry the same amount of world ranking points throughout their fields as well. So certainly the best two players in Australia at the moment are Lucas Herbert and Min Woo Lee, and they were just a little younger than what I am as well. So great to see the young guys really moving up in the world. Lucas, I'm sure, has some points on the DP World Tour, so I think we could see a little bit more of him on the DP World Tour towards the end of this year, depending on what happens with LIV. Adam Scott's also obviously still going along very, very nicely as well, just sitting behind Lucas Herbert at 49th in the world as well. So they're our top 3 Aussies in the OWGR, but hard to argue with Q. I would still put Min Woo just a little ahead of him just with the competition that he's playing.
Well, let me ask you this. If he was allowed to, and I'm going to half give away one of my Gimme Or Putt That questions a little later. If he was allowed to, would Jeff Ogilvy be seriously considering Lucas Herbert right now? And I'll ask you that question. I'll give you the reasons why I think he should be.
Yeah, he should be. Certainly. Yeah, I would say so. He can't, but certainly should be considering it. What do you reckon?
Well, for me, I would think that, and it's a stupid thing that for some reason they can play Ryder Cup LIV players, but they can't play President's Cup. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe you can tell me. But here's a guy who has got better the moment he stepped into a team environment. He and Pewey, they were doing the Carrot Challenge. They are great team people, first and foremost. All those Ripper guys are. They revel in the team environment. So if you're putting together an international team, why not have someone whose best golf has been team golf? He loves the big stage, loves going head-to-head with the best players in the world. We've known that for a long time. And he's someone who in the team environment thrives. I just think it would be a no-brainer to have Lucas Herbert in the President's Cup team, if only there wasn't a ridiculous rule in place that says that he couldn't. Why can't he?
That's a great point, Sammy. I couldn't agree more with you. The reason he can't is because the President's Cup is owned by the US PGA Tour. So the Ryder Cup is co-owned by DP World or European Tour and the US Tour, so both get a say in what goes ahead, whereas the President's Cup is owned solely by the US Tour. So they came out, obviously banned all LIV players, unlike the DP World Tour, who has not got the same ban on LIV players. That's why he can't. But they're all great points, mate. Exactly right. He's thrived in that team atmosphere. Ripper GC, they've won multiple times this year. So, yeah, I would love to have Cam Smith and Lucas Herbert certainly knocking on the door at least of this President's Cup team. It'd be great for us Aussies.
And if you just want to find yourself mesmerised for just a small part of your day, go and have a look at the Ripper GC Instagram page and have a look at the slow-mo of Pewey getting champagne sprayed across his heavily bearded face, licking his chops. For some reason, I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was like when you see the dogs shaking the water off themselves in slow-mo. It was mesmerising. I don't know why.
It was.
Moving on to the PGA Tour, Lynchy, Jackson Koivun. What a young star on the rise this bloke is. He wins the 3M. Now, in terms of starts on the PGA, he's had 13, but as a professional, he's had 3, and he's won his first PGA event. It took Tiger 5 as a pro to win his first PGA event. He wins the 3M, kept 3 major winners at bay, including Scotty Scheffler on the way to doing it. To say that's impressive, it would be the understatement of the year. What did you make of Jackson Koivun?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is kind of to the point of what I was talking about before. It is a big jump. He's had some great results, great finishes as an amateur in US Tour events. He turned pro after his top 25 at the US Open this year at Shinnecock. He finished T23. And the first event that he played as a pro, he missed the cut at the John Deere. So it is a bit of a jump, but he has taken to it like a fish to water. He finished 10th at the ISCO, which was the week after, I believe, that went up against the Scottish Open. So he finished T10 there, and obviously a little bit of a weaker field, albeit, as you mentioned, multiple major winners in this field, but wins the 3M. Different looking action. He really has a lot of lower body movement, but it is undeniable about how good this kid looks. He's taken his last year off college to turn pro. He went to Auburn University. I think this is underdone in terms of golfers in the US and in general. Look at guys like Tom Kim, who turned pro early. But when guys turn pro young, you get a taste of what it's like to compete at this level for a long period of time, and it hardens you. You become better faster, I think. But this kid is undeniable, certainly one to look out for. Not necessarily the most difficult golf course to go out and do it, but you got to still go out and do it. And he had 61 in the third round, including finishing birdie, eagle, and that catapulted him up, and he was flapless on the Sunday and got it done. So keep your eye on Jackson Koivun for the next little while. He is a superstar. And I think there's a little bit of chatter around getting him on the President's Cup team too. What do you think of that, mate?
Well, another Gimme Or Putt That question falls by the wayside. But no, we'll play the audio from Jim Nantz a little later. Because Jim Nantz, who often, obviously, as the host and the anchor of a broadcast, doesn't really go into opinions, but he was really strong on it, saying that this is exactly what this is all set up for. Be the person who gave the person the start and then watch the fruits of it for the next 10, 20 years, was what his point was. So we'll talk more about that in Gimme Or Putt That, but I think so. I think it's, again, because you're trying to bring eyeballs, you're trying to pique interest. It's a big story. If he was to leapfrog some more established players to be Brant Snedeker's one of his captain's picks, then again, big story, a lot of eyes, younger audience, it ticks a lot of boxes for me. I think why not?
Just puts him in that cauldron too. Puts him in that spot so he's more ready when the Ryder Cup comes around, right? You
did mention that you are a big one for young players turning pro early. There was an interesting article that you sent through from Dan on Golf Show talking about that there's no young major winners for a while. When Scotty won his first, I think he was mid to late, like 26, I think, when he won his first major. But this year, it's all been players over 30, and Ryan Fox, who's 39, winning majors. And that's been the trend over the last couple of years, that our major winners haven't been the young players. We've had a lot of attention on the young guys like Ludwig. Are they going to win a major this year? And it hasn't been the case. You've got a theory as to why.
I think that it's starting to balance back out. I think all of that new technology that came in was such a big jump. So for players like Adam Scott, for example, who had adjusted to the new ball, new equipment, it was still based on feel. Like, you still had your swing coach, you had 2D imaging and video and all this sort of stuff. But then all of a sudden, TrackMan came in, Foresight came in, you got all of this data that was there and readily available. And younger kids and younger people who were earlier in their journey are just more adaptable to that sort of stuff. Okay, cool, perfect, I've got it. Bang, they get it. Takes the older guys a little bit more time to kind of start to trust it and also kind of figure out, okay, well, it felt like this, but these are the numbers that it's giving me. This is whereas the young kids are a little bit more adaptable. I think it's starting to balance out now that information is more readily available. I think that the feel aspect is now coming back into it a little bit, and I think the older guys are starting to show more around what we used to see, which is just understanding your own game and your own swing and how you deal with pressure at that highest level best. So it's balancing back out. I mean, it might be premature though, Sammy.
Ladies, for the LPGA and Ladies European Tour, Jenny Shin wins the Scottish Open. Only 4 Aussies made the cut in the end, finished down the order. Hannah Green, Amelia Garvey from New Zealand, Grace Kim and Robin Choi finished down the leaderboard. We'll talk about the Women's Open Championship in just a moment as well. But the other result, I just wanted to give 2 quick ones, Lynchy, were Hannah Reeves won an LET Access Tour. We saw her leap into prominence, winning the first 3 Ford New South Wales Open regional qualifiers last year. She won the Pitch 15 Open in the UK on the LET Access. It's just a young star just continuing to grind away, progress through the ranks and work her way up. And the first of the men's New South Wales Open regional qualifiers was on during the week. Stacked field, man. There were multiple PGA Tour of Australasia winners, players who had won overseas. It was as good a field as we've ever had in a Ford New South Wales Open regional qualifier, and a great day of golf too. The final group, Austin Batista was doing incredible things. He's a friend of the pod. Jay McKenzie wins in the end. He stalked Jake McLeod all day and then finally overtook him after Jake had his first bogey of the tournament, an eagle on 14 for Jay, and then it was almost like the cyclist in the slipstream just waited to pounce and got him late. But it was as good a day as golf as I can remember on one of those regional qualifiers, and the next is on Friday at Tevan Valley, where an even better field I think is assembled. Craig Parry's going to be there, Marcus Fraser, Wade Ormsby. It's going to be incredible.
Nice.
So well done to all involved there. Mate, Women's Open, last major of the year. It's a little sad. We're a little melancholy, but this is a major that wasn't a major until 2001. We've had 3 Aussies win it. Kari Webb won it 3 times. The last in 2002, just after it became a major. Corinne Dibnar in 1988. And the great Karen Lunn saluted in 1993. So at Royal Lytham St Annes, it's a 6-time hosting. It's going to be a great tournament and on an incredible venue.
Yeah, it will be. Crazy that this wasn't a major championship until 2001. Absolutely crazy. But you're exactly right. Royal Lytham St Annes, who could forget Adam Scott bogeying the last 4 holes last time the men's major was there and going down to Ernie Els, unfortunately. So some heartbreak for Aussies there in the past. We have had Peter Thompson win there before. Bob Charles, the Kiwi, has won at this venue as well. And Sevi Ballesteros and Gary Player, obviously notables as well, who have won at this incredible venue. Some great names on the men's side of things, but this is a women's Open this week, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how the girls tackle this golf course. There's stacks of, I think there's 130 bunkers or something out there, so it is stacked to the heath with bunkers, so strategy is going to be at the forefront. Lydia Ko won a couple of years ago. Miyu Yamashita won last year. Who do you like, mate?
Well, I was just having a look at that from an Australian point of view. I think Nelly's needs this for a Grand Slam, so I'm fascinated to see whether, a person who's won the first 2 majors of the year, we've only got 2 major winners this year. So can Nelly, complete what would be one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen? It already probably is, winning the 2 majors, to be fair. There's 11 Australasians in the field. It hasn't been a happy hunting ground this time for Hannah Green. I think she's missed the last 3 cuts, but for Minjee, she's always performed really well on the links in the Open. So she's got she's got multiple top 10 finishes in this tournament. So I really like Minjee coming to this, and just keep an eye on Carice Davidson.
She withdrew last week though, Minjee Lee. I don't know if she's injured or not.
I thought it was to focus on this, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, she was struggling big time. She was having a mare and withdrew. I don't know if it was through injury. She does love the links land, but I'm just wondering whether or not she's injured. We'll keep an eye on that, though.
Just keep an eye on Carice Davidson, who is having a purple patch. She's been the top Australian in each of the previous 3 majors this year. Tied for 12th at the Women's PGA Championship, was the best of those. She missed the cut last week, though, so that's not the ideal preparation, but she has been our best performed Aussie in the majors this year. We've got 11 Australasians in the field.
Yeah, well, hopefully one of them can raise the cup, mate. I'm looking forward to watching this. As we said, our final major of the year, President's Cup around the corner, but we've had 2 major winners so far this year on the ladies' circuit. Will this be another one to those 2, or will we get a new major winner? We'll find out.
Who do you think this sets up well for at this course?
It's a tough one. It's going to be firm. We just saw how bouncy and firm the Open was just up the road in England for the men's major, with Foxy getting over the top. It's been a dry old summer up there, and those fairway bunkers become a lot more penal when you've got to judge that sort of run out. So someone who's very in control of their ball flight and of their yardages, it's hard to go. I know we've mentioned her many times, but Hannah Green, I think, is a really good option. She's a world-class player, obviously won a couple of times already this year. I'm going to stick with her, just given that Minjee is either out of form or injured. So she's my pick. And I think you mentioned Karis Davidson as well has been playing spectacular golf as of late.
Yeah, and if I'm going if I'm not going with an Aussie, I'm going Charlie Hull. She's been second twice. There's a major in Charlie Hull, even after a 9 last week.
Yeah.
But so I reach in and get the coin because we got to do our draft, Lynchy.
We do.
Only 4 categories this week. So now, who called last week? I had the call,
I did. It's your turn this time.
All right, my call. All right, I'm going to go. This is the cathedral coin again. I'm going to go tails. Actually, I should have said that. Tails and heads. Anyway, let's just do it. It's a head. You get the first selection. Nelly Quarter at $7.50. Now, this is, if you haven't seen us do this before, we take players who are on equal or similar lines of betting. It always starts with the 2 favourites, and we work our way through a couple of randomly selected, thanks to our producer, Nico. Nelly Quarter at $7.50 or Mio Yamashita, the defending champ, at $12, Lynchy.
I'm going to take the defending champ. I'm not 100% sure whether or not Nelly Quarter is a very big fan of links golf. I'm going to take Miyu.
All right. Next category, please.
Next category is Charlie Hull and Lottie Wode.
Oh, yes. I'll take Charlie Hull, given I just tipped her to win
Excellent.
it. So.
I like that. I like Lottie Wode, although it didn't work out very well for me last week. We need to talk about this. Next one, mate.
Jenny Shin at $91, who won the Scottish Open, or Minjee Lee, who I wasn't aware she was under an injury.
Yeah,
cloud,
well, this is an easy one for me. I'm going to take the winner of last week's Scottish Open, Jenny Shin. Thank you, mate.
Fair enough. And the last group.
Last group is Karis Davidson and G.A. Shin.
G.A. Shin has, I think, was second a couple of years ago or last year, G.A. Shin.
Yeah.
Geez, Karis, is it? I can't go past G.A. Shin, can you?
I don't think so. Not.
You can have Karis.
Not at the level. I'll take Karis Davidson after I went away from the Aussies on the previous. I got to at least have one Aussie. Now, how's your 500 putts looking, mate? How are we going there? Am I taking a putter out or a driver out?
I went up yesterday with Alfie. It was a little chilly, so he wasn't loving sitting there watching me. I did film some of it. I just put them all around in a circle, 9 balls, and I just kept working my way around.
Perfect.
So I could keep tally of how many I missed. So I'm up to 65.
Nice.
And I was on average missing 2 per circuit. And a couple of times I missed 3.
Sweet.
So it wasn't too bad,
great.
but Alfie cracked it, so we had to go. Yeah,
that's fair.
So
well done. So you got to get it done. You let me know when you got it done, and we'll keep building. We'll keep piling up these challenges, mate. But again, this is a long-term view, right? If you get all these putts done, then you're going to be a better player for it.
My back started to hurt. We've spoken about this. I need to go to a biomechanist. I've got some issues. I need to be able to separate the movements in my body. All right, let's get into the scramble.
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
I'm a great scramble partner.
I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
Yeah, I did a few things here and there.
Lynchy, not a whole lot making news this week, so we'll get into our Gimme Or Putt That in just a moment. But the biggest news of the week is the fact that it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but every outlet reporting that another blow to the future of LIV Golf in that the $40 million team championship event in Michigan, it was set to be starting on the 27th of August, won't be going ahead. It's a big purse. It's a big payday. It's about $14 million to the winning team, which was set to be reduced this year. But even on the reductions, all the reports are that this is not going to go ahead. Another blow.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were talking about nails in coffins and stuff like that, and this is going to be one of my Gimme Or Putt That questions as we get to it in a minute anyway. But Flushing It reporting that 7 players have confirmed that at season's end, regardless of whether or not the tour continues, they will be leaving. They're not going to be playing. So which 7 players we're not sure of, but you can hardly afford to be losing any of your even medium name players on that tour. So it would be hard to sell the LIV Tour without all of the players that they've currently got on their roster. Look, the other thing is that obviously without the Asian Tour, which signed with the Strategic Alliance and joined the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, without the Asian Tour, you've got no feeder, no pathway tour. You've got no access really to a lot of the national opens that would have been their big pitch to investors. So without that feeder and pathway tour, you've got no OWGR points. Like one of the prerequisites is that you have a feeder and a pathway tour, so as that you get those OWGR points, So again, it's looking less and less likely that we'll be seeing any LIV events next year. And obviously Martin Keimer came out and said that there was a 5% chance of that team championship happening. It sounds like that's been scrapped to this point. There was no build out, nothing had been done yet. So unfortunately, it could be the end, I think, for LIV Golf. But yeah, it's a big shame for the Australian golf calendar, I reckon.
Yeah, it is, because that LIV event in Adelaide is huge. And the other part of this story, Lynchy, is the fact that LIV have requested an extension on the payment to Kionga, which is about $500,000. Peter Malinauskas, the SA Premier, was asked about this and said that's not that strange, given that they haven't locked in their schedule yet, but given everything else that's going in and around it, asking for that extension is another troubling sign, because that would just say that they're not sure whether it's even going to be going ahead or not. Yeah. So you're right, that is a big blow to Australian golf, first and foremost. And I just wonder now, we're talking about where the players are going to... Do you know what we might do next week? We might do a draft. If we were to see a situation where the PGA and the DP got to go pick for pick, who they would go for and who you'd want. I wonder for guys like Mark Leishman. Like, where's he at? Would he just come back and play in Australia? He's set for life, I think. Yeah. I don't know. But... does he want to sign up again to be travelling all the way around the world, or stay in the US and have to try and work his way back through to a card there? Or would he just be happy now to come and play in the Australian summer the whole way around and, things like that? I mean, I just wonder what's going to be the future for them. And then because Cam's working hard on getting investors, Bryson's working hard on getting investors. Sooner or later, John Rahm's going to have to, because he's got equity in Legion. The boys own Ripper too, I think.
Yeah,
I think Leash and Cam definitely have equity in as has been. Well, it's been reported that they do. I don't know for sure. So there's a lot at stake. Look,
we've spoken about team golf and stuff in Australia as well. There's no reason why you couldn't bring it down and have some form of team golf as part of the Aussie tour, whether or not you can get the cash up to make it worthwhile for a lot of players.
Sell that idea.
Exactly right.
Sell
exactly
it. Fill
right.
that hole.
We'll
go speak to Peter Malinauskas now. He'll buy it. He'll buy anything. He'll buy everything.
There you go. No, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week, when I assume there's going to be a bit more information coming out over the next few days.
All right, Gimme Or Putt That. I'm going to go first. You ready?
Fire away, mate.
Each and every week, just a question we pose and the other has to answer gimme if they're answering in the affirmative, or a putt that if they're in the negative, and maybe they ask for a read if we want to expand out a little more. Trenching is a bigger issue in the game than spike marks. We saw Lucas Glover, which everyone thought was a protest about aim point, take his shoes off to pick his ball out of the hole. But it turns out from the man himself that there was a complaint in the group behind about spike marks. He's still a player that wears spikes. He's old school, the two-time major winner. So he actually took his shoes off to make sure his spikes didn't make any more impressions on the green. My question to you is, though, is trenching a bigger issue than spike marks? Trenching being when you start padding the line of behind the ball to the hole and almost making a little funnel for yourself.
I would have to say that's a gimme. Yeah, I would say that probably is a bigger issue than spike marks, only because you can tap spike marks down. You can repair spike marks. It doesn't matter. You can fix them. So trenching is a concern at the moment. I think that if you're padding the first few inches of your putt with your putter and making a little rivet, it does become quite difficult to miss putts. So if that is going on...
Have you seen players doing it?
Well, it certainly looks like it at times, or watching it on TV, but it might be based on what we are all hearing, a bigger deal on the US tour. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep monitoring it, but it certainly seems like a bigger issue than spike marks, mate. My turn. Scott O'Neill, the LIV Golf CEO, has done a good job since taking over the role.
Gimme. None of what's happening here is his fault. None of these are his decisions. None of this is based on is the product or the byproduct of any of his decisions. I think when he speaks, I listen. I think he presents really well. Clearly, he's working his ass off to try and save that tour. Tough job to try and take, especially not knowing what you now know, which he wouldn't have known at the time, that they were thinking of pulling the pin. So, I think he's done a really good job. And what happens to LIV should be in no way, the blame should in no way be placed at his feet. So I'll give me that.
Okay.
LIV players, which might not be relevant for long, should be allowed to be picked for President's Cup.
Yeah, of course. That's a gimme. You'd like to think that they could be factored in some way, given they're the only ones that are playing team golf all the time, as you mentioned earlier on. So that's a no-brainer. But as long as the US Tour are owning this event, they will not be allowed, unfortunately, Sammy. I'll continue on with... Sorry, did you have anything to add there?
No, I've made my feelings known.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucas Herbert would be just about a walk-up start at the moment for Jeff Ogilvy as a captain's pick. So I think they missed something. And they missed the storyline. Bryce, it was a great storyline about him getting picked for President's Cup. And he was fantastic for the President's Cup. He was the crowd favourite. He got him up and about. It was smart. For one of the smartest things Keegan Bradley did, and there wasn't many, it was putting him out first because it really did set the tone. He loves it. He's passionate. So I thought he was great for it. And I think Lucas Herbert, he's not the same kind of character as Bryson, but he would be great for the President's Cup. And Pewey would be great for the caddies of the President's Cup.
Okay, so we'll stay on this theme. The President's Cup this year will be a close encounter for the first time in many.
I'm gimme. That's a gimme. I don't sleep on this international team. And again, the idea that I think would mean more to them than it does to the Americans. It's almost like Queensland, New South Wales in rugby league. It seems to always mean more to Queensland. New South Wales people hate that, and that's why I like mentioning it. I think it means more to the internationals, and they will rally, and they do rally. And I think even though on paper the American team will be a lot more impressive, I would not sleep on the internationals. I think it'll be closer than people think.
Right.
Jim Nance says that President's Cup theme and continuing, Brant Snedeker should pick Jackson Koivun for the President's Cup. Just 3 professional PGA starts. He's already got a PGA win. Gimme or putt that.
I'm going to say gimme. I agree. I don't think for both factors in terms of I think it would be great for Jackson Koivun's development. I think it would prepare him for what if he was to make a Ryder Cup in the future. And also I think it would give our internationals a sneaky extra chance with a rookie on the list like him. So absolutely, put him on the side. Put him on there.
You got another one for me?
I do indeed. 14 clubs in your golf bag or in any golf bag is the right amount of golf clubs.
Putt that.
Yeah?
I don't know why there's a rule on this. I don't understand. What does it matter? If your caddy's happy to lug him around, or if you're happy to lug him around on a Saturday, have 52 clubs in the bag. I couldn't care less. It's just more decisions you have to make, or have 3 clubs in your bag. I think it's a rule of a bygone era. I think it's irrelevant now. Put as many as you want in, and then it's up to you how you use them. I don't see where there's any advantage or disadvantage.
Yeah. Fair call.
Whatever floats your boat.
I'm going to say that's the maximum amount. I'd love to see less. You got another one?
Just one to finish up. This happens a lot at Ambrose days too. Saying one when someone accidentally knocks the ball off the tee. Give me a putt that.
Don't do that. We'll see that one. We'll see that one. We've heard that before. I've got one.
It's like yelling taxi. It's like the person who yells taxi. It's done.
It is.
No more.
It is. Curious on your thoughts on this one, mate. Gimme or putt that. Ball markers are getting too big.
I've got one of the poker chips from. I'm going to have to say gimme. There's people putting dinner plates out there.
They are. They're getting absurd. Saw someone with a serious dinner plate the other day. It was funny stuff.
Yeah, no, you can't put a vinyl record down.
No, exactly.
Where are the
right.
days of just putting, because we don't have 1 and 2 cent pieces anymore.
Exactly.
So I'll definitely do that. Hey, we're going to save the blind. You're going to make me do the blind rankings of all the golf TV and movies, but we'll save that for another week. Is it fair to say that we're giving the mulligan to Charlie Hull after her 9 at the Scottish Open? I do love the fact that she rang the director and complained about where the pin was. Said, look, it's my fault for having a 9, but that pin shouldn't have been there. I liked it.
That was very good.
Now, we're going to finish off with a confessional, as we like to do every single week on Course Language, all thanks to Callaway. This has been a long time coming, Lynchy. One of my best mates, Polly, sent one that just wasn't fit for air. I've had to type it out. I've had to take out every second word, unfortunately, was one that couldn't be used. And I've tidied it up. I've run it through an AI program that will then put a voice to it. And I'm going to play it for you now.
I was in Perth, and I'd been on the gas for 2 days full on. And on day 3, we played golf at Wembley with my uncle, Paulie, and Beats, those boys. I had a bit of a warm-up, and then I was busting for a sit-down, but our tea time was up, so the boys wouldn't let me. They said there's another toilet on the golf course. So I'm about to what myself, driving on the first. I almost released when I released, but I managed to keep it together. Then, we're walking about 6 holes from the clubhouse, and I'm like, where's this bloody toilet? I'm going to soil myself seriously. And they're like, it's after the next hole. So I was playing my approach and had to try and really give it a hook around this tree. So I've given it a big swipe and went, oh, I couldn't talk to anyone, couldn't look at anyone. I just made a beeline towards this toilet. I've left my ball, left everyone. I was just pushing my buggy, thinking, please, please, don't fertilize yourself. I was wearing shorts too. It was a nice day. Anyway, I'm rushing to this toilet, and I could see it, and I'm like, F, holding it in, hold it in. And then this greenskeeper's come from nowhere on a motorbike towards me, and I'm thinking, just don't come near me, mate. And he kept coming toward me, apparently just about the sprinklers or something, but then, as he approached me, we sort of made eye contact, and he just looked at me and went, oh, and he just knew there was something not right and stopped in his tracks and just let me go. I finally got to the toilet, pushed my buggy in the bush, threw open the door, went to sit down, but I didn't make it. I didn't get everything off in time, and things were not in a good way, and it got worse when I looked down and see that there was no toilet paper at all. So I got undressed, waited for the boys to finish that hole, and play the next hole. They finally found me, and were yelling, what are you doing, Joe? I made them give me all their towels, cleaned everything up, threw my undies in the bin, put my shorts back on, finished the round, and in substantial discomfort, with a substantial amount of chafing, I think I shot 6 under that day.
That's very good. You've done a great job tidying that up. My God, the whole thing could have been a bleep.
It's taken me 3 weeks to fix it.
Very good.
I like the 6 under. No one's buying the fact that no one's buying the fact that you shot 6 under, Polly. But that's a horror
Very
story,
good
though, isn't
stuff.
it? Like that's a horror story.
That's not good.
Sorry if you're eating at any point in that. We should have given a warning at the start, mate. Another great week. Enjoy the last major of the year, and we'll chat all about it next week on Course Language. And remember, what happens on course plays on Course Language. All thanks to Callaway.
Beauty, mate. Hit 'em well.